Got a full plate this morning, T-Rex. I don't know if we can remember everything we just memorized. We've been up since about 6 a.m. looking at weather maps. And it's extraordinary, all the things that are going on. Why don't we just start with the satellite imagery? How often do you see this? 2 hurricanes so close together. It happens, but not all that often. And a front that's right across the south coast of New England, bringing heavy rain to Cape Cod right now. And then if you go to another satellite image, there's another front bringing heavy rain to parts of New York and Canada and northwestern Vermont, just north of where we are. That is Mount Mansfield with a cloud touching the ground. A cloud touching the ground is fog. That bus will not make it through the notch. So many distractions. Tried to find a place where I wouldn't be that distracted. And remember everything I have to say. Let's see, we want to talk about deepening low pressure crossing New England tonight. We want to talk about the forecast of 2 hurricane tracks, which has changed rather dramatically. And we want to talk about the possibility of one of the nicest Labor Day weekends we've ever had, with potential record heat setting up for the first week of September. Let's start with the beast in the room. That's Franklin. Franklin is now stabilized. Last night, Phil Klotzbach said it got to 929 millibars. That's one of the lowest barometer readings of any hurricane this far north. As far north as it was. And now it's starting to weakening. It had an eye wall replacement last night. And so the wind core may be expanding, but the wind is staying offshore. But the waves have arrived at the middle Atlantic states. Check out some of the marine observations from off of Cape Hatteras. 7 feet, 13 seconds. That's a heavy, long period swell coming from Franklin. And look at the water temperature off of Charleston. 87-degree water temperature. That's hot seawater. And that is going to play a role in Idalia. So we'll watch Franklin go well south of New England, stay offshore. And Idalia. Jim Cantori and crew have set up at Cedar Key, which looks like it's going to be on the south side of the core of the storm, which is expected to come ashore in about 24 hours. That would be about 10 or 11 in the morning on Wednesday morning, probably to the north of where Jim is. What a beautiful sunrise that was. And big storms have already come ahead of Idalia, which is deepening, and it's going over really warm water. We've talked about how warm the Gulf of Mexico is all season. And so there is potential for a category 3 or 4 or more. We've seen a lot of surprises with hurricanes as they're coming over really warm water, but fortunately it's going to be moving fairly quickly, and the forecast is for some shear to develop over it. So hopefully it is on the lower side of a 4 or maybe even a category 3. But either way, it's a major hurricane, and Jim says there may be a record storm surge at Cedar Key. So I'm sure he's got an evacuation plan in place. And then that storm goes across further inland than forecast earlier. What happens with these tropical cyclones is they get caught up in the mid-latitude west to east jet stream, and you get a big trough coming into the northeast here over the next 2 days. It's going to bring us heavy rain. I haven't even got to that yet. And that will pick up Franklin and zip it out to sea. It looks like it's going to stay well south of Canada now, too, so that's some good news. But that trough misses Idalia. And as a matter of fact, Idalia looks like it just fades from the upper level pattern, but it's really trapped underneath an upper level developing ridge south of New England. So most of the guidance now has Idalia stalling east of the United States, west of Bermuda, and actually drifting back towards the mainland next week. Here in the Northeast, we're underneath a 594 cutoff anomalous warm high pressure system here next Tuesday into Wednesday and Thursday. So if it weren't for that 95 to 100 degree air we had that same period 5 years ago, 2018, remember that? It was 95 to 100. The records are pretty high. Otherwise, I would say it's record challenging warmth here in New England next week. All right, what about New England next 48 hours? So today we have the heavier rain moving out of Cape Cod, but there's going to be more waves of rain developing along the south coast. It is busy around here, isn't it? Not even foliage season. And I think most of New England, most of the day today is dry. There's very little in the way of wind right now. What is wind? Air moving from high to low pressure. We have a low pressure system that's not that strong. It's 1,005. Well, it's kind of strong for this time of year. No, 1,010, excuse me, over the Lake Huron area. And that low is deepening. So we have deepening low pressure crossing northern New England. So a warm front at the south coast, deepening low pressure crossing into Vermont, and the two fronts, the one subtropical front that's been off to our south, causing flooding off to our south the last few days, moving north, and this cold front coming out of Canada with some pretty cool air, cool dry air, and deepening low coming in from the northwest. So all bets are off on when and how much rain, but it looks like a general idea is tonight into tomorrow morning early, some parts of New England are going to get 2 to 4 inches of rain. We've not been successful at all trying to specifically say exactly when and where, but if I were to say something for Boston, I would say sunrise tomorrow morning. Watch out for some rain and thunderstorms. And then that low pressure continues to deepen down to 995 northeast of Caribou, Maine tomorrow. So the wind is really going to ramp up tomorrow afternoon out of the west and northwest. That's much drier air coming in. And by evening for that sailboat race, Kevin, it looks like we're going to be west-northwest at 15 to 25 miles per hour. And so that's the cooler, drier air coming in on the lead edge of another high-pressure system coming out of Canada. That high is going to come in and sort of stall over us. And yes, confidence is growing. It looks like we could have a terrific Labor Day weekend and surf, too. I mean, the Franklin swell is going to come up and go out, leave by then. But now you have Idalia. So definitely south of Cape Cod, south side of Cape Cod, maybe the National Seashore, Nantucket for sure. Overhead sets. Blair actually showed this one from yesterday. He said the long period swell has already shown up. You can see that in the lines. And so surf is on here. We'll have that real strong offshore flow developing tomorrow afternoon, Thursday morning. So those waves will be spectacular. The tops blowing off them. People dropping down these head-high waves in Rhode Island and to Long Island and New Jersey. That'll be something to see, a spectacle for sure. And then the wind's going to let up over Friday, Saturday, but the Idalia is stalled way down there, so there should be a lingering swell right through the entire weekend at the south-facing beaches of New England, maybe up to the coast of Maine. We'll see about that. So it looks terrific. Come on down to the National Seashore. We'll be there. We're going to have a 3-day event. Funny that I'm up here at my favorite ski area talking about my favorite surf spot, and there's no snow in the forecast here, but there's certainly swell in the forecast, Cape Cod and the islands. It was swell weather yesterday. I mean, it was nice. Here in Vermont, the sky stayed mostly blue, but there's some nice cumulus clouds, and it was really dramatic how the sort of texture of the sky changed. And the moon, oh boy, I've been trying to figure out, get my grip on the moon. It is called the blue moon, so we're still having the sturgeon moon of 1st of August, and we're going to have the harvest or corn moon late in September. So the second moon of August is just called the blue moon, and as close as it comes to Earth, it's of the year, 222,000 miles, so everyone's deemed that a super moon. And so we have a super blue moon, full tomorrow, and I think every moon is super. We have a super photograph of Rachel taking a picture of Baloo posing in front of the Baloo moon last evening here in Vermont. So it was a really good day. I'll leave you with some of the antics from yesterday, weather, play-by-play, and no matter where you go around here, it is going to be busy. You can't escape, but I love it here, and we'll be back for foliage, and then ski season is probably about 10 or 11 weeks away. Talk to you later. 5 o'clock update. We had mostly just lower level instability cumulus just evaporated, and now we have the higher level instability, higher level moisture, altocumulus, almost cirrocumulus, as the warm front well to the south starts coming back. Flash flooding today in New York. So somebody's going to have flash flooding tomorrow, which is now today, because this is the N more being filmed on a Monday and presented on a Tuesday. So that cloud is different than that cloud. And where's the blue moon? Can't see the blue moon because the sky is blue. Keep saying that. Truth is, the moon is way south and east of here, so that's why we can't see it. And very interesting as the sun goes down. Cooler air is dense, it sinks over here. Warmer air is less dense, it rises over here, and that's where you get that circulation. Everything goes in circles. And a circle through time is a wave. Not the moon. Changing by the second. 4 real cirrocumulus clouds. Highest level of moisture and instability indicates major weather systems within 500 to more than 1,000 miles away. We are locked and loaded with plenty of action and somewhat unpredictable. Very unpredictable. Very unpredictable. My favorite plan is no plan, because that way it can't go wrong. If you don't have a plan, it can't go wrong. So it was supposed to go home to Weymouth today, but it was irresistibly beautiful, so we stuck around. There's the real weather on the horizon. We talked about it quite a bit already. And there's Mount Mansfield. There's the forehead and the nose and the chin just past sunset. I'd love to show you the moon, but it's way off in the southeast. So this could be it for the Enmore out the door again in Vermont. Plans are made to be broken. Right? Right. Where's the moon? The blue moon. It's over there. Subsidence, or sinking air, is clear, blue sky for the most part, and ascending air, rising, cooling, and condensing, makes clouds, showers, and thunderstorms over there, also blocking the moon. Think that'll do for tonight, unless I get a view of the moon. And more. Oh yeah, and a beautiful sunset from Jeffrey Scott Davis in Fallon's Pond last evening. A lot of beautiful sunsets lately, huh, Jeffrey?